Hello there. My name's Jack, you're a snack, and it's time for you to sit back and read some Reddit stories with me. Let's go. This story a throwaway by Throwrar374224. Am I the a-hole for not helping my wife's best friend get back with my wife after she accused me of cheating? Yesterday, I came back home after work and I witnessed my wife crying. She was crying so much she couldn't even speak properly. After a lot of efforts to calm her down, I asked her for the reason for her crying so much and why is she behaving like this. I won't lie, at that moment my wife was acting like she's possessed by some entity from Underworld. After she calmed down and I asked her, she told me that I am cheating on her, and that's why she was heartbroken and angry at me. My situation is so dumb and hilarious and depressing all at the same time. And please excuse my pathetic English. I was confused because I didn't cheat on her. Hell, I don't even talk to the opposite gender unless it's necessary. My wife called for her best friend who told her that I am cheating on her. My wife's best friend said that I am a cheater and she saw me in the mall with another older woman who hugged me and kissed me on my cheek. So I showed her a photo from that day and I asked her if she's the same woman, and she said yes. I was speechless, and when I showed the photo to my wife, she went silent as well. I told her friend that the woman in question is our aunt. My wife got angry and kicked her out and said she doesn't want to talk to her. After she left, my wife turned on me and I couldn't stop laughing, so my wife got angrier and told me that if she ever finds me talking to other women, she'll skin me alive. I tried my best and stopped laughing and told her that I will agree to madam, but she must kiss me in return. After all this stupidity, my wife calms down, but her best friend is calling and texting me, and she's saying that I should help her get back with my wife, and she didn't mean to hurt her. Maybe I was a bit mean, but I told her to deal with it. I am kinda happy that my wife and her stupid friend broke off, and I have my wife all to myself, but I still feel like I should help her. Now, top comment says, not the a-hole. They accused you of doing something you didn't do and only regretted it once you cleared the situation. With the OP saying, yeah, that's right. She accused me of something I didn't do. I didn't even have intimacy with anyone else other than my wife, and I would never do that. I promised her that I will only be hers, and I won't go back on my words because my words are gold. But I did feel bad because my wife's best friend didn't know that the woman in question is our aunt, and she might have misunderstood and thought I am a filthy cheating man and wanted to help my wife, so I appreciate her for trying to help my wife. That's why I was confused and thinking so much about the situation. Others, though, finding some red flags in the conversation with the wife seeming to threaten to literally kill him, but then him also celebrating that he gets his wife all to himself. Personally, I think these things are being a bit too deep about these comments. She's saying this after coming down from what was a mental breakdown, and he seems to clearly be the kind of person who really loves the monogamy of a relationship. But to also read some additional information that the OP left behind in the comments, I just want to clarify that I am not in an abusive relationship. My wife said she'll skin me alive because she was angry, and it doesn't mean she's some kind of psychopath. She said what she said because she obviously cares about me and wants me all to herself. Also, my wife is not forbidding me from talking to my coworkers, etc. If it is a necessity, I will obviously talk to the opposite gender. She knows and so do I, but she was angry, so I am not too troubled by her words. I myself wouldn't converse with the opposite gender unless it is a necessity or she needs help urgently, and my wife wouldn't either. And those who are telling me that my wife has a history, well, she doesn't. I have known my wife for a long time, I've known her since childhood, and I know everything about her. Regardless though, there were many comments that were being a bit sus about the wife here, that all it took for her to get this hysterical and crazy was a friend making an immediate assumption. So then comes the update a few days later, which honestly just seems to make people double down on these thoughts. After my wife's best friend accused me of cheating on my wife ignorantly, and I proved her wrong, my wife calmed down, but she was still a bit hysterical and angry and sad, and she apologized to me for not trusting me and jumping to conclusions. I assured my wife that I will never cheat on her, especially with our aunt, and if I do, she can skin me alive like she wanted. Although the situation is a bit hilarious and dumb, but after I thought about it, I couldn't prove it to her with the photo I clicked with our aunt. This might have broken my marriage or hurt it permanently. So I decided to talk to my wife and told her that her meddlesome friend is no longer invited in my house and she's not allowed to talk to me either. She can keep her friendship with her as long as it doesn't impact our marriage. I also told her that I agree with her demands, that I won't be allowed to talk to the opposite gender unless it's necessary or they are family or friends, but her bestie is not allowed in my house. My wife agreed and said she's angry at her friend for making her doubt me and she's not talking to her either. After this discussion, my wife calmed down and she is getting normal again and we made out. A friend asked for my help again and again, and when I had enough of her begging, I blocked her. And as you would expect, the comments sort of devolve into this hyperfixation on this whole can't talk to women thing. If your server is a woman, are you allowed to order? Can you talk to a female cop if they pull you over? Your wife is over the top crazy. I hope you're trying to reassure us. Yes, like I said, I talk to women I know like family and friends, but to avoid others unless it's necessary, and I am allowed to do that with my wife. My wife is disappointed and sad, that's why she reacted in an extreme manner. It's not even been a week since this incident, and I didn't give her enough time to calm down. I've known her since she was 6. I know her more than her parents do. Okay, so if you go to a store and there is only female workers there, I am assuming you are not shopping at that store then, since it's not necessary to shop at this store and you can just travel to another store. No, you got it all wrong. If I go get groceries and the cashier is female, then it is a necessity for me to interact with her. Not small talks with her, because I wouldn't do that anyway. I have my wife and family to do that. Also, since my wife comes from my community, I will take care of her and agree to her demands. She's not psycho who'll skin me alive, and it's not like I will marry a woman from a different community anyway. My wife is my priority, and I will do what's best for our marriage. Maybe some here will agree, maybe they won't, but it won't change anything for me. So ultimately, it does seem like this isn't as extreme of a demand that it sounds like on paper. But I think where the comments are getting from, it's that idea that you shouldn't need to have this demand in the first place if you are someone who's so confidently comfortable with not needing to have these restrictions, you know? Like if you're still very much able to talk to the cashier who's a woman, or engage with a female police officer, why does it matter if you also say hello and be kind enough to ask them how their day is? Let me know what you think. I get for some people it's a cultural difference of sorts, but I'm not afraid to point out that it seems very weird that the idea of asking someone how their day is could ever possibly insinuate that you want to cheat with them or have an affair or have intentions to be more than just friendly. Moving on to our next story now. This one by Throwaway Our Way, Wet Desert. It's titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my partner I will act and moan like adult stars do if he gives me the same amount of money that they receive after the shooting? My partner is a porn addict. I know he is. Not just his phone, but his PC is full of porn as well, and he doesn't even hide this fact. Our intimate life is a disaster. He tries to do the thing to me that he sees in porn. Doesn't matter how many times I told him it doesn't feel good or it even hurts. But sorry for the TMI, but he does this very aggressive and rapid movement on my clitoris with loads of pressure without any foreplay, and I flinch in pain every time. I explain to him how I would like it when he tells me normal women like it this way, or you are just too sensitive. Foreplay is non-existent. When he actually penetrates me, I have to bend like a pretzel and pull my legs at my shoulders, which I am not able to do, which fills him with frustration, disappointment, and aggression. He told me several times that I should be more flexible, like other girls. He then proceeds to tell me he is angry about how he has to initiate all the time. I wonder why. And every time when an intimate scene is on TV, he makes comments like, I'm jealous, I am not written like that, or see, that's what I want. Last time, it got me so tired and frustrated, I told him those actresses in the movie get loads of money and fame, at least, in exchange for this role. Therefore, it is something for something, a business deal. Obviously, she will act how they want her to act. Then he told me it proves every woman just wants money and gets themselves wet just for the thought of loads of money. I told him I doubt she was actually wet or if any real intimacy was happening. Again, it is an act. He got furious and told me to stop gaslighting him and just to be like a real woman. Initiate intimacy. Moan loudly. Act like an adult star, basically. I told him I will in that second he gives me the amount of money that they receive after shooting the movie. Then he called me names, whore, and again accused me that I am after money. I told him that if I was after money, I would have never gotten together with him. He started yelling something, but I didn't hear it anymore, as I was thinking on how on the earth I got together with someone like this. I don't need advice. In that moment, I just realized I don't feel anything towards him anymore, and I have to leave if I want to keep my sanity, and if I ever want to have a great intimate life. I'm leaving. So unsurprisingly, comments say, you need a new partner. The current one is an idiot. Exactly. Act like a real woman. Mother flipper, them's fighting words. Let me Lorena Bobbitt ya, and then you can tell me if you still feel like a real man. Ugh, dudes like this are so disgusting. Go play a blown-up doll and save all of womankind from any of us ever again having to listen to his lobotomy-inducing drivel. Yeah, I agree with comments pointing this out. The idea to act like a real woman, and their references are people who are actors. who are paid to fake. It's like asking your guy to look like a real man, like Hugh Jackman in The Wolverine. Also, a great counterpoint to the boyfriend here. Ask him why his schlong isn't as large as the guys in adult content either. Anyway, about a week later, there was an update, just in case you were wondering how the fallout occurred. So after I wrote that post, I started packing my things while my boyfriend was standing behind me, shouting like he lost his goddamn mind, told me I couldn't leave, and when I zipped my bags, he stood in front of the door to block it, and I thought he couldn't sink any lower. I will try to quote the exact last conversation we had here. Him. So you will just leave because I told you what I want. Me. No, I'm leaving because I was the one who tried to communicate several times, but you commanded, threatened, you're aggressive, and belittling. That's because you don't listen. I listened, but I can't give you what you want. I'm not an adult star. And you don't understand that they are acting. I don't want to act when I'm intimate with someone. Not to mention, it is not real intimacy what they are doing. They just act. What do you mean it's not real when they are legitimately freaking her? So you think when a guy puts his schlong into her sneaky hallway, that is intimacy? What about the connection, the pleasure, to caress each other, the foreplay and aftercare, to connect in every way? That is not real. At this point, I just chuckled and asked him to move out of the way. He refused. So you admit money makes you enjoy that stuff? No, but if I can't get anything enough out of our encounters, and you want me to act, at least I could get the money. I won't enjoy it. I will just act like how corn addicts think women enjoy real smacks, but it is not. So if you want me to act without enjoyment, what's more, pain, I want to get something out of it. They enjoy it. I doubt it. I won't start about exploitation of women and why exactly they go into that industry, or all of the extra work they do around the shooting. Some women enjoy being mistreated. I doubt it. But even if they do, well, I think you don't understand the difference between BDSM in a safe relationship and abuse. They need help. I don't want to go to a therapist to enjoy intimacy. You just don't love me and never have. You are a freaking gold digger piece of whore. I hope someone screws you up. It is already done by you. He continued shouting, but at that point I was completely numb. I still am numb. It feels like I wasted all of my energy and positivity in this relationship, and I have nothing else in me. I just asked him to move, and he finally did, but still continued to call me everything you can imagine. I think he was almost crying too, but doesn't matter. One of my friends let me be here for a few weeks until I get my stuff together, and I'm ready in every way to start a new chapter, but I'm just numb. I think I really need a therapist. Thank you for all your comments though. I tried to reach all of them in the car. Note 1, some people asked why I got together with him, because he showed a different side of him. He was polite, respectful. He made me laugh. He cared about me until I moved in. Then everything started to change. Second note, yes, he had a small peenie. Our next story is by Putrid C8359. Am I the a-hole for not letting my husband use airline credit for a coworker? My husband and I got married 2 years ago, during the middle of COVID lockdown. We were to go to France and Germany for our honeymoon. We saved for the tickets, and to be honest, I paid for most of them. This is both a second marriage, as we're both 43, and our finances have stayed separate for the most part due to my insistence. We have tried to go 3 times to our honeymoon, and lockdowns or illnesses have left us stateside. My husband is very well traveled, and I haven't been to most places. I have tried to talk to him about using the credit to go somewhere in the States, but he insists we wait. He is stingy on money, and I have paid the majority of travel every time we have done it, which is mostly with my children. He has made me feel really bad about wanting to change the plans because he says it's giving up on our honeymoon. But I haven't been anywhere, and even going to a coast would be amazing. Today, when I got home from work, he said he had a coworker, 25, who is stuck in Florida on vacation due to a flood that happened there recently. He says her car was totaled and has no way to get back to work her job, so he offered to fly her back without credit. I was dumbfounded. I asked if we will be paid back, and he shrugged and said he doesn't feel like she needs to because she is going to RN school. Now, I am a registered nurse, and I would work hard for every dime I make working in ICU. He didn't even ask me to use the credit. He assumed I would be fine with it. It only came up in conversation about how crazy his day was. So am I the a-hole for saying no to use the credit on a coworker? Am I the a-hole for feeling like he cared more for this woman than me? Now, this story was over 2.5 years ago, with top comments at the time, "Not the a-hole. Your husband is, though. That's airline credits for you and your family, not for some random person your husband happened to work with. Why is this coworker being stranded in Florida any of his business? If he's so worried about the coworker, he can pay for the flight with his money. And that's pretty much a shared feeling across the board. Others are leery about him, not wanting to go anywhere with you, and suddenly wanting to give some random 25-year-old chick your honeymoon credit. And you know it's something when I can find literally no one else in the comments thinking the other way. Others paraphrasing the post, he's been actively holding you back from using your credit and using guilt trips to do so, which is manipulation, then suddenly springs on you that he wants to use it on another woman, almost 20 years younger than him, to boot, and didn't even consult you about it. I would be fuming. Absolutely not. Not sure if anyone else thinks so, but this sounds so damn sketchy. And for over 2.5 years, we got nothing other than that post. Up until recently, we finally get an update. I just logged into an old computer and found this account that I no longer use. I had completely forgotten about it and honestly have only a vague recollection of posting it due to circumstances I will get into. The marriage ended right after this. It looks like this is almost 3 years old and I have been away from this man as of 3 years in July 2025. This was one of the last arguments we had. He told me I was very uncaring about the stranger in Florida, and if I was a nice person, money would be no object to get her. He then strangled me to the ground and I passed out. By this point in the marriage, I handed him my phone when I got home from work and he would give it to me when I left for work. I tried to leave several times, each time I came back. When I wrote this post, I was downloading the audiobook Why Does He Do That by Bancroft and then deleting it each evening before I handed my phone to him. This book saved my life. It gave me the courage to try to get away and understand that he wasn't going to change. He had choked me several times, and he was physically abusive by this point of my marriage. I had glass in my foot and had half my hearing from a busted eardrum in my right ear. So about a week after this post, I went to get the mail, something I was not allowed to do, but something told me I needed to. In the mailbox was a $35,000 check from my inheritance of my aunt. I stuffed it in my panties, and it stayed there until the next day when I could leave with my purse and my dog. I called my daughter, and she came to pick me up. I didn't even have shoes on. That was July 1st, 2022. I'll save you all the work it took to get where I am today, but I will say that my life is good. My life is joyous. My life is safe and peaceful. I'm officially divorced, and it took 2 years of him kicking and screaming to do that. He has yet to pay me a dime for the house that I bought, and I don't expect to see it, as he is in contempt. Thank you for so much of the advice that you gave me that day. I'm not sure if he was having an affair with that woman or not. Most likely, he was getting to the point where he was. All evidence pointed to that. I don't care, though. I was so far gone that I don't even remember the post. It was like complaining about the smell of smoke when your whole house is on fire. Thank you again for being so gentle with me. To the woman who told me to use the credit and go to the coast a year ago, I did. I took one of my daughters and went to Oregon and Washington. We hiked, we sunbathed on the beach, we rockhounded. We did all the things. I don't have any ambition to go to Paris or Germany. It was never my dream. Again, thank you so much for all the support you gave me 3 years ago. I have to agree to the comments that are compiling in this Reddit update. That inheritance and the book was a godsend. No doubt he would have killed her. It's a horrifying turn of events to suddenly come across, but thank God it's actually a happy ending at least. This story by StrengthOK8842. Am I the a-hole for imploding my friend group? Hi, long-time lurker, first-time poster. Throwaway for obvious reasons. I, 30s female, made some friends through Discord. Penelope, Maggie, and Nora, all in their 30s female. We became friends at a point in my life where I was lonely. And the connection we forged was strong and fast. We spent all of our free time talking online, and I mean we could clock 3,000 plus messages a day easily. And honestly, I had so much fun. At one point, Nora's life got chaotic and she couldn't keep up with the volume of messages. Her activity in the group went down, but beyond a few teasing comments, everything seemed okay. Our friendship rebalanced with Penelope, Maggie, and I carrying on most of the conversation, and Nora popping in regularly, which everyone seemed okay with. We grew so close, I even made plans to visit one of them in person for a week. Life was perfect until a couple of things happened for me. I started to get sick, and being on my phone constantly was taking over my life. I got called out at work for always being on my phone, and then once a guy got home from work, I had zero energy for anything other than laying in bed and napping intermittently. All of this built until I had to cancel the vacation I had scheduled because I was in the hospital. It took ages for them to figure out what was wrong and how to treat me, and by the time I was even slightly restored, I had used all my paid time off for the rest of the year and was still too weak to go anywhere. That's when the friendship broke. I went into the group chat to explain that I wouldn't be around as much because of my medical stuff, and that's when Penelope and Maggie got upset, claiming I was the a-hole for having broken promises and having drifted away from them. Mind you, I was updating the group chat constantly while I was in hospital. The only one who defended me was Nora, who said the others were insane for being mad at me for putting up reasonable boundaries. We had a few group calls, one scheduled the day before a serious medical exam, which Penelope and Maggie forgot about, and we tried to make the friendship work. But while I occasionally text with Maggie, Penelope made it clear that everything I did to fix the friendship wasn't enough. Nora is actually the one who suggested I post this here because I genuinely still feel guilty about the implosion of our friend group. But I just couldn't do it anymore. If I fell asleep early in the evening, I'd wake up to over 300 messages the next day, some of them paragraphs long. So Reddit, am I the a-hole for imploding my friend group? Top support believes not the a-hole. You didn't implode the friend group, your friends are just choosing not to support you. Nora seems normal, but I suggest you drop the others, especially Penelope. Remember that this wasn't you ghosting or keeping secrets or anything malicious. You got sick and needed time. Do you want to be friends with someone who would punish you for that? And I have to agree with this other comment that this friendship group seems pretty intense and unsustainable, to be honest. 3,000 messages a day. That's an average of 750 each, one message every 2 minutes. Relationships change, and this wasn't sustainable for you anymore. Stay friends with Nora, and don't worry about the other two if you can. As someone who can find 3 message notifications on their phone a bit overwhelming and exhausting to deal with, I could only imagine the idea of over 300 in a chat. I don't know. Call me a loner, but I don't at all blame OP for finding it too exhausting to keep up with all the chatter going on with the friends. For us, at least, that is the end of today's video. Thank you, as always, for watching, especially if you made it this far. As always, please let me know your thoughts on the stories down below. I like to read them every morning after I upload. And until the next time, you be good, love your face, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.